When we look at world history, empires rose and fell not only through military might, but also through financial strategy. Wars were not fought with gold and silver alone, they were fought with paper and debt. The legions of the Roman Empire were financed not with gold or bonds, but with promissory notes and tax pledges. Soldiers stood on the battlefield, but the real fight was in ledgers and treasuries. Finance became more powerful than armies. An empire's fate depended on the trust of banks and investors. In the 1690s, England was at war with France and its gold reserves were running low. The king turned to merchants to fill the treasury's gap. He made them a promise: we will pay interest with future taxes. In that moment, government debt was born. Victory was no longer measured solely on battlefields, but also on financial statements. The Bank of England was founded at the heart of this system, and an empire's war strategy was no longer just about swords and cannons. It now involved bonds and promissory notes. This was the beginning of a financial revolution. The state could spend money it did not yet have, while creditors received a valuable promise backed by trust. France immediately recognized this and built its own financial machinery, while the Netherlands refined the system with commercial ingenuity. In the New World, debt became a more effective weapon than armies. Even the American colonies fighting for independence in North America copied English bonds and debt mechanisms to finance their revolution. Wars were now fought not just for land, but for financial credibility. Every empire developed unique methods to fund its wars. The Ottoman Empire fed its armies through taxes and the Tamar system, while European states preferred bonds and loans. Bonds became soldiers on the battlefield. Banks, merchants, and wealthy families formed financial legions. If these legions lost confidence, an empire could collapse overnight. In the 18th century, the wars of Austria, France, and England were won not only on fields but across financial ledgers. The Napoleonic Wars provide a dramatic example. England borrowed heavily to defeat the Continental armies. Taxes were placed on the population, and banks and private investors purchased bonds. While Napoleon's troops advanced, the British treasury fought another battle on the fronts of money and trust. Debt became both sword and shield. France, fighting England, attempted to build its own bond system, but its economy could not bear the burden. People faced hunger and inflation, and financial collapse directly impacted army morale and the state's power. This cycle was not limited to Europe. The Ottoman Empire financed wars and modernization projects throughout the 19th century through debt. European banks purchased Ottoman bonds, and citizens paid with taxes. Debt sometimes kept the state afloat, while other times it created a chain of dependency. Debt had become as strategic a weapon as military victory. Russia, after the Napoleonic era, strengthened its army through borrowing. China, under the Qing dynasty, relied on European loans to fund infrastructure and modernization. Japan, during the Meiji era, partnered with Western bankers to rapidly industrialize through debt. Every empire grew stronger through debt, but also became more fragile. The foundations of modern finance were laid during these centuries. Government bonds, chains of creditors, the role of central banks, and the logic of the global debt system trace back 300 to 400 years. When an empire lost a war, it did not only lose soldiers, but also financial trust. Fighting with debt became as crucial as managing gold and artillery. Every cannon won on the battlefield was balanced by a victory or loss in the books. The same principle still holds today. Nations borrow, pay interest, and remain afloat through economic confidence. History shows us that financial strategy is the most critical weapon in determining an empire's fate. Debt is not merely a burden. It is the army, the weapon, and the shield of modern states. And if the chain of debt breaks, not only treasuries, but empires themselves can fall.